You think for 1 second they're gonna let you keep that baby?
Okay.
It's your choice.
No. I have called the police. If you don't want to be arrested, you need to leave. Right?
Nobody cares about
I'm
us.
sorry. You have to leave.
Well, escaping an abusive
know that?
situation is the premise for the movie Gimme Shelter, one of the winners at this year's Christopher Awards. It's also a story that's all too familiar for the New Jersey woman whose life the film is largely based upon. We are very lucky to have Kathy DiFiore with us here today to talk about the film, the award, and her story. Kathy, thank you so much for coming down. And I think one of the things that's so inspirational about your story is not only did you deal with so many challenges of your own in life, but after overcoming them, you then went out and sought more of them. Walk us through that process, because this started with an abusive relationship.
Diane, a lot of women, I think, are unfortunately abused these days. It's tough times, but when it was many years ago, it was 34 years ago, and I was in a marriage that just didn't work. I mean, unfortunately, the gentleman that I was married to, you know, couldn't handle the relationship. I was married for 8 years. And I decided at one point I had to leave. You know, just my dignity, my self-respect was just nothing. It had dropped completely. And I faced homelessness myself, just going from friend to friend and just trying to figure out how I was going to put my life together. And through the grace of God, I got a job and a little house. And when that happened, I really prayed, just wondered what was I going to do with the rest of my life. And something came to me that I had to help women. And basically, I decided I'd start to take women into my own home.
Not only did you touch these women, but then you inspired other people to help them as well. And so how did this then turn into a book and a movie?
This young man named Ronald Krause, who ended up being the director and the writer and the producer, and he knocked on the door one day. It was Christmas, and he said, "I'd like to volunteer." I thought, okay, volunteer. We let people in to volunteer. And he got to know the girls, and the next thing he said, "I want to make a movie." And I said, "No, you're not making any movie. There's no movies made." But then he kept coming back, and kind of the patron saint of pests in a nice way.
He won you over by poking and poking?
He won the girls over, and they felt so trusted by him, and they trusted him. I thought, this is unique. These are not women that trust men. Mm-hmm. And then I started listening to them. And then I thought, well, was God working through them to tell me it's time to break that cycle of not having any publicity?
Right.
And that's what happened.
And now this film, you know, it has some big stars in it. What was it like to see this all play out on film?
It was beyond surreal. It's still surreal. And Rosario Dawson, James Earl Jones, Vanessa Hudgens, you know, Brendan Fraser, all in our shelter, holding our babies, you know, oohing and eyeing. You know, we still walk around and say, there's where she stood. You know?
And as if that wasn't enough, you then received an award for this. Talk to us about the Christopher Award.
It's a piece of heaven. I have to say, I really, really wish that it was fully taped and the United States public could watch the Christopher Awards.
And so, you've had such a complex story so far. What is next for you, Kathy?
Well, I just finished this book, and as I was talking to you before, 9 of the women that I've helped, their stories are in the book, and I would challenge anyone watching this show today, how many of you know someone that's pregnant and not married? It's a complex scenario, so you could learn a lot.